I'm still bullish on Pitt. In fact, I've got them as my number one surprise team in the country, or my number one non-top 10 team that I think has a shot at making the playoffs. Now, they were firmly up there with Addison, and then the last couple of weeks of the magazine when Addison moved on to USC, it dropped them a little bit, but I still think they have a chance of running the table, winning the ACC, and getting into the playoff this year. Keaton Slovis is a guy that didn't have a great spring game, but I think he's going to have a very good season this year. He's not going to match Kenny Pickett's numbers from last year. I mean, 42 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. But keep in mind, Slovis was a Heisman contender heading into last season, and I think he's going to have a very good year. I do think Pitt will run the football more under Frank Cignetti, and they've got the running backs to do so. Israel Abanikanda, Vincent Davis, Rodney Hammond, Daniel Carter, a very deep backfield. While they lose Addison, I like the addition of freshman All-American Kanyetta Mumfield from Akron. He had a really good year at Akron, didn't have anywhere near the supporting cast he has here. He and Jared Wayne should have a pretty good receiving core. The offensive line, this is one of the top offensive lines in the ACC. I mean, the entire unit returns from last year, and I think you're going to see a much improved run game with this offensive line. So I do think the offense will be in good shape. Defensively, as always with Pitt, it goes around the defensive line. And this defensive line is my number 2 rated defensive line in the country next to Clemson and could very well be number 1. Narduzzi always produces a great defensive line, and they only lose one DL from last year, so they're going to be outstanding there. Question marks in the linebacking core, probably more so in the depth. I like the top 3 with Simon, Kamara, and Dennis. They're not quite as deep as you'd like, but even though they only have 7 scholarship linebackers, I think they'll form a good unit. And then the secondary, I think they're loaded there. They're a unit that hasn't made a lot of mistakes. They're as deep as they've ever been. So this is a Pitt team. When you look at the schedule, I have them favored in all their games up to the Miami of Florida game in the season final. And if they win that, I think they're a legitimate threat to make the playoff this year.
Who else